Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the 7th part of What If Goku Was an Elite Saiyan. Please like to help with the video's algorithm and subscribe, it's totally free and you can unsubscribe when you want. There's not much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
One time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Raditz throws his Basara earring to Kibito and then stands alongside his brother. Nappa is there too. The threat of Buu is destroyed and Babidi is swiftly dealt with. This marks the end to the Buu saga and Dragon Ball Z as a whole. Now let's get right into Dragon Ball Super. You guys voted and you still want Goku to be the Super Saiyan God. Since you voted for this is what I shall do. Because of this, the entire arc pretty much goes the same, except that Goku is able to take a few more hits from the God of Destruction. Also, I'll say that Raditz and Nappa know of the God of Destruction bearers from Vegeta, who tells them both of the horror stories that he remembers. Now, for the following arc with the Resurrection F arc, Raditz and Nappa also tag along to train on the Whis. They all gain access to Super Saiyan Blue, and here are the rankings for the different fighters. The weakest of the Saiyans is Nappa. Now it isn't all due to the fact that he's had less training than them now. Actually, it's because of him being a mid-class Saiyan warrior. The rest of the Saiyans are of elite class, so his genetics are simply keeping him behind. His power growth is less intense and his potential is worse. The following Saiyan is Raditz. Now that him and Vegeta are receiving similar training, Vegeta's genetics and talent is coming into play, and this allows him to surpass the brother of Goku. Raditz is obviously still strong in his own right and is also leagues ahead of Nappa. The second strongest is Vegeta. He isn't much stronger than Raditz, and if they fought, the fight would be long and intense before Vegeta would inevitably come out as the victor. He has far better mastery over Super Saiyan Blue compared to Raditz and Nappa. His potential is definitely there and he has caught the attention of Whis quite a bit. However, the primary warrior is definitely Goku. He was a low-class warrior and had insane potential in the canon, so if this potential is amplified by his elite genetics in this What If, this means he is the strongest Saiyan by a large margin. Even if you do say that Goku is stronger than Vegeta due to his training and how he trains, instead of just working really hard but instead working efficiently and resting, his genetics are being amplified and made better either way, so his strength will increase both ways. His Super Saiyan Blue mastery is very impressive and he is close to perfecting Super Saiyan Blue already. He is definitely receiving the most attention from Whis, and even Beerus is impressed by the power growth that he has. Once Frieza starts to wreak havoc on the Earth, the fighters all return and band together to protect the planet. While their parents were away training, Raditz Jr., Goten and Trunks all decided to head into the hyperbolic time chamber one weekend day to get stronger and not fall behind too much. Well, they definitely still do fall behind, but they're kids after all and are very ambitious. They are all capable of Super Saiyan 2 and are actually the strongest people on Earth, so when Frieza arrives, he's definitely in for a lot. Once Frieza arrives on Earth with his soldiers, the Saiyan kids are also there to stop him. Frieza, my father has said many things about you, Raditz Jr. says, approaching his flying pod. Wow, a spitting image of young Raditz. You must be his son. Well, he must have told you about how strong and imposing I was, Frieza says with a smirk on his face. No, he said that my cousin Gohan killed you, he says, switching the tone of Frieza immediately. Get them, Frieza says, lifting his finger. The soldiers blast off towards the fighters and Piccolo alongside the humans are there. Neo Tri-Beam, Tien shouts, launching his powerful signature attack to kill several soldiers in one go. Next, the kids simultaneously power up into Super Saiyan then blast around, destroying the soldiers in their path. Goten punches a soldier forward that is then slammed downwards by Raditz Jr. This soldier slams into and knocks out many other soldiers as he is tumbling too. Double Sunday, Raditz Jr. shouts, launching their energy beam through several soldiers in one go. Although these blasts are quite inefficient as they are just far too thin. Piccolo has the answer to this. He begins to grow his signature light grenade to try and face the soldiers. They are obviously strong enough to face these soldiers, but their attacks are too linear, so they have to try and take them all out in one attack. Trunks decides to protect him and he does so with ease. I mean, these people range from 1000 to 2000 in power level, so they're just being killed with single hits. Trunks kicks a soldier in the chest and launches out 2 more ki blasts to destroy the remaining fighters. Move, he shouts, launching the attack at the soldiers. Once it hits one of them, it violently detonates and causes a large booming noise as the destructive explosion kills the surrounding soldiers. Eventually, the main area is cleared of soldiers and the only ones that remain are those that have flew away to fight the several Z fighters. Trunks blasts off immediately, then swivels down to kick a soldier before taking out 10 with a one-hand energy wave. The three kids then make a line as they notice a group of soldiers attacking Krillin. "Get away from here," Trunks shouts, charging up his own attack. All three fighters launch a combined energy wave at the soldiers and wipe the area clean of them completely. The trees tumble and level off, leaving a clear wasteland due to their move. Right after this, they turn and charge towards another group of fighters that are against Tien. However, he seems to be handling his own quite well. Tien pushes the soldiers away with a Ki blast, then shoots out a one-hand energy wave, followed by a quick and precise attack to knock out the different soldiers. If you don't know what Ki is, it's basically just using Ki to move wind. One soldier then launches an energy wave of his own with a scream. However, Tien takes the attack head on and only receives a small bruise on his palm. He then forms his hands into a triangular position, launching 3 consecutive tri-beams. These kill the soldiers and leave them to fall down and lay lifelessly in a ravine. Once this happens, the soldiers have been dealt with and the only ones that remain are Tagoma and Shisami. Raditz Jr. faces off against both fighters alone. He clenches his fist, then roars, transforming into a Super Saiyan 2 form. His aura crackles with the powerful electricity of the form and still retains the bright golden aura of Super Saiyan 1. Shisami smirks as he is unclear of their power, but Sorbet on the sidelines reads the power. It reaches past the hundreds of millions and just breaks after increasing so intensely. "No, it will be too much for you to handle," Sorbet insists, waving his hands violently. "Oh please, I won't lose to some tailed earthling. Stand back," he shouts, before powering up and blasting forwards as fast as he can. They clash and Raditz Jr. doesn't move in the slightest, while Shisami is launched backwards. The Saiyan circles behind him, then sidekicks him ahead. Following this landed hit, he flies up high, then rains down with an energy wave. However, Shisami is just about able to evade the very swift attack. Once this occurs, Raditz Jr. almost appears ahead of him in his view. He strikes the large red warrior in the stomach and launches him backwards with this one attack. However, he is able to fly right past him, then kick him up into the air with minimal effort. To add some flash, the Saiyan even flies around him multiple times as he is being shot up into the air. This gives a very cool effect of a golden trail around Shisami's body that constantly wraps around him. The Super Saiyan then swing kicks the fighter down into the ground, knocking him out. Tagoma seems a little more scared at this, but then takes the battle and tries to fight the Saiyan. However, the young Saiyan doesn't hold back as he double drop kicks the fighter with all the force that he can muster. This slams him into the ground and forms a literal crater from the high force. He then reverts to his base and lands ahead of Frieza, staring him down. "Face me," he shouts, making a battle stance. "Boy, you don't stand a chance against me. I'm saving the true fight for the others," Frieza states, unwilling to battle. Luckily for him, the 4 Saiyans land next to the humans and kids. "Hey son, get out of here and take your friends. I won't let this animal live again," Raditz states, showing off his new aura. Nappa, also being slightly more muscular than before, stares down Frieza with hatred for what he had done to his planet and race. Also, he was powerless against him before, but now he won't be. "I won't let you live another day, Frieza. I have far more power than you can imagine, and now you will perish," Nappa shouts as he shows off his silver aura. "Is that all the power you have, Nappa? Not a single transformation?" Frieza asks provocatively, reaching his unsuppressed final form. He makes a recoil position and waggles his tail as his power amplifies greatly. "I won't need a single transformation to kill you," Nappa shouts, disappearing from sight. He appears behind Frieza, then punches him forward with as much power as he can. He then flies after the fighter and throws a punch that is dodged and evaded. However, Nappa blasts off his feet and flips forward to kick Frieza in his nose, launching him ahead. This makes the Emperor slightly annoyed and he powers up to the maximum, showing a glimpse of golden energy flashing off his body. However, he stays in his final form and flies towards Nappa with his maximum speed. However, Nappa still seems to be faster. He lands the first hit from his far superior range, then backs away to dodge a kick from Frieza. At the end of the day, Frieza's like 5'4" and Nappa has to be like 6'10" minimum. Following this hit, he kicks the tyrant further back and follows right after him. Before he can even stop himself, he is hit with a Ki blast that forces him downwards from the explosive force. Frieza then stops himself and is overcome by rage. He screams and flies up to Nappa, punching him in his gut. Then he launches a barrage of Ki blasts, finishing off with a larger and more powerful Ki blast. Once the smoke thins, Nappa is nowhere to be seen. This is because he is now behind Frieza. He has utilised instant transmission to do this. He kicks him in the back, then teleports ahead of the warrior, allowing him to launch his energy wave directly at him. This forces him down and into the ground, also causing a massive explosion from the hit. The smoke clears and Frieza is clearly weakened. You've gotten stronger, Frieza, but I have too. I will turn you into ashes, Nappa states, charging up one of his own attacks. Frieza just smirks and begins to power up, making Nappa stop as he feels his power shoot up dramatically. His skin then engulfs in a unique golden energy and then he transforms into his golden Frieza state. His aura is violent and furious as his body has been greatly amplified. Raditz, you think we should both take him? Nappa says, trying to get Raditz in on the fun. Frieza has gotten much stronger, yes, but Nappa has a whole arsenal of transformations that he can use, so he isn't scared at all. Raditz appears beside him and both Saiyans begin to roar, transforming into their ultimate forms. Their auras combine as they are so close and the former squad mates transform into the Super Saiyan Blue form. Nappa is sadly still as bold as ever, but his beard is a bright blue with his aura and his eyes following the same colour. Raditz's luscious hair is now a vibrant blue and looks far more majestic, as well as his muscles being even more popping than before. Raditz swiftly flies forwards and disappears, appearing behind Frieza to kick him up. Next, he gets punched forward by Nappa and sent flying away tens of meters. As he is forced back, Nappa comes in from down below and tries to attack Frieza, but he catches notice and launches a semi-charged up Ki Blast. Once he looks down a little too long, Raditz slams down the Tyrant and gets kicked downwards further by Nappa. Frieza slams into the rocky floor and is now furious. These two Saiyans that were once under him now reign over him with far superior power to his own. In one last shot, the Emperor shouts as loud as he can and powers up, which is pretty much futile. He does get slightly stronger from drawing upon more ki, but at the end of the day, there's no amount of powering up that he can do to get on their level. Frieza flies forwards and tries to attack Nappa since he's clearly slower, but he still dodges with ease and kicks Frieza in his back. When I mean slower, I mean that Nappa is slower than Raditz, not Frieza. Raditz appears behind Frieza and lands a gut punch to his stomach. Frieza then coughs out a mass of blood and spit from this hit and just flies there. However, Raditz spins counterclockwise and lands a kick to his arm, forcing him away several meters. Nappa then shoots him further, faster with another punch that makes it hard for Frieza to even see as he is hurling backwards. Raditz then uses instant transmission to appear behind Frieza and he pulls back both arms, charging up his next attack. Double God Sunday, he shouts, launching two blue energy waves directly towards Frieza that engulf and heavily injure him. Once the smoke clears, Frieza falls back down to the ground in his final form and is barely able to keep himself up on his hands and knees. You're lucky I held back with that attack, Frieza. I don't think we'd be quite satisfied with that finish, Raditz replies, raising his hand towards him. Frieza just drops his head and smiles, sticking his hands into the ground to destroy it. Raditz looks around and kills Frieza immediately with a brutal decapitation. However, the explosion continues and in no time the entire planet is destroyed. However, Whis is able to take them back to just before Raditz performs his Double God Sunday. All four Saiyans transform into their Super Saiyan Blue states and appear in a line. Goku, Vegeta, Raditz and Nappa. This surprises Frieza as he isn't clear of what happened in the future, then out of nowhere they all charge up and launch their signature attacks. The Kamehameha, Final Flash, Nappa's Brick Cannon or the Mouth Energy Wave that he always uses, and the Double Sunday. All four attacks combine and form a devastating blast that takes Frieza out completely. Now that was a satisfying finish, Raditz says, dropping his arms. Gohan, after seeing his parents and parents' friends become so strong, but becomes more motivated to start training. During his free time, he realizes that Super Saiyan 2 has become heavily taxing on his body, so it makes him even more determined to raise his power and reach new heights. He does have a family now and can't just go off training with Whis, but decides to just stay on Earth and train within his free time to gain as much strength as possible and ascend past his limits. Before the Universe 6 tournament begins, a few things still take place. For example, Piccolo decides to spar with Gohan to see if he's still strong as he once was. This is after Piccolo declines to train with the 4 Saiyans in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber for 3 years. It does seem slightly enticing, but he knows his limits and finds it far better to train on his own. Both fighters face each other and Piccolo looks at him with a slight sense of disgust. "You're so slim, you've lost so much muscular mass, you better not be on my level still," he states, making a stance. Gohan powers up within his base and smiles back at his friend. "I promise, I haven't gotten much weaker," he states, flying towards Piccolo. He strikes Piccolo's block and launches him back with this force. The Saiyan might have been off his game, but he hasn't lost all that much power. He might still have lost strength in this what if, but he's definitely not as weak as he was in canon and can actually handle Super Saiyan to a reasonable standard. At the end of the day, Gohan at his peak was so much stronger than Piccolo that it would take a lot of time before he became weaker than the Namekian. Piccolo slides back from the strike, then flies back out to try and land an attack of his own. Gohan swivels, then strikes down with a kick that Piccolo easily evades. He then flies directly off his feet to try and hit Piccolo, launching out a Ki Blast. Piccolo, predicting this attack, spins over it athletically before throwing down a kick of his own. Gohan blocks and smiles back at Piccolo once he catches it, dropping his army, screams and bursts out with golden ki. His hair shifts into that same hue, and after a little bit of willpower he becomes a Super Saiyan. He zooms ahead, now being 50 times faster, and he kicks at the gut of Piccolo. This forces him into the skies, and Gohan flies after him extremely fast. Eventually he circles past the Namekian and kicks him downwards with a double drop kick. Piccolo crashes through a rock hill, then rolls across the ground, looking up hastily to try and anticipate an attack. However, Gohan continues to power up in the sky. He starts screaming and transforms into a Super Saiyan 2 form. However, he tries to continue and blast past this form but seems to be struggling quite a lot. He continues to try and push for it, but his body simply isn't in the state to allow the taxing form to occur. The form I'm talking about is the heavily taxing Super Saiyan 3 form. Since he wanted to fit into society, he cut off his tail and is no longer able to utilize the power of the Ikari form. This then keeps his limit as Super Saiyan 2 and he stops powering up, also reverting back into normal Super Saiyan. I can't reach the form that I once could, Gohan states, bummed out at his lack of endurance. Of course you can't, you are a glorious fighter. You had far surpassed your father and had uncontested power at the age of 12. Gohan, you have the potential to be the strongest Earthling to have ever existed, but you've wasted it getting some useless job. I won't tell you what to do with your life, but just know what you're missing out on, Piccolo explains, slightly changing Gohan's mindset. Initially he didn't want to go and join the Saiyans since he would be a detriment to the other fighters. However, he knows his potential and has to find a way to try and match the fighters that he will face. Now, here are the options. He can join them immediately without an increase in power. The second choice is that he uses the Dragon Balls to unlock his potential and gain a lot of strength. The third choice is that he somehow gets to Namek to unlock his potential. Once he thinks a little, he realizes that they all have instant transmission and can maybe get there with focus. Piccolo, Namek has a new Grand Elder, right? He asks, turning back to the Namekian. Yes, but why are you asking? He asks, raising a brow. Couldn't he unlock our potentials? He asks, lighting up Piccolo's eyes from the very smart idea. So that will conclude the 7th part of What If Goku Was an Elite Saiyan. Please tell me something you liked about the video or something that I can improve on for the next part in the comments to make this What If as great as possible. I really hope you guys enjoyed me giving the spotlight to the other fighters like Raditz, Nappa and Gohan in this What If, but don't worry, Goku will get his part in the future parts, obviously, it is his What If at the end of the day. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.